What's up everyone, my name is Ion and this is Saboady Century, your channel for One Piece card game content, where you can get your One Piece card game news, booster and pack openings, a road to 100%, and lore decks, where we create decks for fun and not for competition. Basically, we're making decks where we base it off of the arcs, the events, the pirate crews and alliances that happen in the One Piece world of manga or anime. So without further ado, let's check this deck out and let's do this. Okay, so here we have the RG Supernovas version 1 because I think I'm going to be making more than one of these decks. But before we continue, I want to call out Bandai and ask them if they can make this card, Panda Man. Panda Man is just so awesome. If they're creating decks that are based off of non-canon characters, why not make a card out of a canon character? Basically, he is a canon character. He's just everywhere. Bandai, if you're listening, please, I'm pleading you, please make a card like this. That is all. Thank you. So, moving forward, we have the RG Supernovas version 1. We have the ratios here. Feel free to pause at any time. Check it out. On the next page, we have your sideboard. I based it off of the Digimon card game since Bandai created it. I think they have a 10 card sideboard, so I thought this game would have a 10 card sideboard as well. So we're going to be starting off with Mr. Luffy himself with life 4, 5000 power. Main, once per turn, tap 4 Dawns, set one of your cost 5 or lower Supernovas or Straw Hat crew characters to active, and give that character plus 1000 power this turn. I think his ability is very expensive. That's just a personal opinion. For a life 4 leader, it's a lot of Dawn to just use for your characters. So in this deck, I do have a lot of low costing cards just to compensate for the amount of Dawn that I may use for the leader's ability. Moving forward, we have Straw Sword, cost 2. Main, rest one of your opponent's characters. Trigger, play one Supernovas type character with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. I love the art on this card. The ability itself is very tempoic. The trigger as well is pretty good. I do have a lot of 2 or less costing character cards in this deck. About 36% of this deck is 2 or less costing cards. So if this triggers out of the life area, I will definitely have a low costing card to play. Next card up, we have Gomono Red Hawk. This is kind of a lore breaker for this deck because the Red Hawk did not happen until Fishman Island arc. So that happened after the Saboady Archipelago arc where we first met the Supernovas. But I just really like the art on this card. The ability is nothing to scoff at as well. It's counter, your leader, or up to one of your characters gain 4000 power for the duration of the battle, then KO one of your opponent's characters with 4000 power or less. Trigger, your opponent's leader or one of their characters lose 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. I like the ability, the counter ability, because it targets the power and not cost. So there's a good contrast with other cards. And the trigger makes your opponent's leaders and characters lose 10,000 power, or one of them lose 10,000 power. It does not KO, but it's definitely usable. And next one up, we have Punk Gibson. Cost 2. Counter, your leader or up to one of your characters gain 4000 power for the duration of the battle, then rest one of your opponent's characters that cost 4 or less. Trigger, rest one of your opponent's characters. And this is a good contrast to Red Hawk because this one targets the cost of your opponent's characters. So I did like having both of them in the deck just because of that choice, the possibility of having a choice in which to target. So let's go on to the character cards. We have Jewelry Bonnie. I have a playset of her. She's a cost 1, activate main. Rest 1 Dawn, rest her. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal one Supernova's type card and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Counter 1000. Amazing card because you're targeting a type card. Basically, you can look for a character, an event, or a stage card. The downside to her is her power, which is 1000. That being said, that's why I have this guy right here, Capone Gang Beach, cost 1 blocker. So very straightforward. He's the chopper of the deck. He's a chump blocker, and he's there to hopefully be in my opening hand with Bonnie just for protection. At the same time, both those two characters synergize with Mr. Euroj, a cost 2, power 3000, Dawn times 1. If you have 3 or more characters, this character gains plus 2000 power and counter 1000. I like his ability because the 3 characters needed to activate this ability includes him. So if you have a Bonnie and a Beige on the field, as soon as he drops, his ability is already triggered. You just have to give him a Dawn, and he could possibly swing for 6000 in the next turn. And of course, a counter 1000 is also amazing. Next one up, we have Monkey D. Luffy, the 2-drop power 3000 striker. Dawn times 2. This character cannot be KO'd when battling striker attribute characters. Activate main once per turn. Give this card up to 2 rested Dawn cards and counter 1000. A very good card. You're technically giving him the 2 Dawns you paid for him, an extra 2 Dawns to activate his invincibility against strikers, and now you're swinging with 7000. A very beautiful, well thought out card. I really like this card. So next one up, we have Apu, cost 2, 3000, and he's a shooter. Dawn times 1. When attacking, rest one of your opponent's Dawn. Counter 2000. His ability is good, but the fact that he has countered 2000 makes him more viable in my hand than in the field or in the game. Next one up, we have Eustace Kid, the 3-drop power 4000, Dawn times 2. This character gains double attack. The damage this character deals to your opponent's leader becomes 2, and then counter 1000. This card is a very strong card. I feel like he also works with the leader card. I would put a Dawn on him to at least cap him off at 5000, make him attack, revive him with Luffy, giving him an extra 1000, so he's on tap, and now he can swing again when you put another Dawn, so he's technically at 7000, swinging for double attack. Next one up is one of my favorite cards in this deck, is Killer, a 3-drop 3000 power slasher. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 3 or less. Trigger, play this card and counter 1000. This card is a very strong card if you have a very aggro-centric opponent. It just means that they would always have some rested characters on their side. This card is just amazing. I love his ability, even though it's asking for your opponents to have rested characters and they're costing 3 or less. I think it has a good synergy with the blocker law that I have in the deck, where he would just be put back into your hand and you can use his ability again if you need to. Next one up, we have Zorro Rush, the 3-drop power 5000 slasher. I like this card better than the other Zorro that pumps for 7000 because I'd rather have the ability to attack the moment I play a card rather than give the opponent a whole turn to think of how to counter a card before it attacks. So I like this more than the other Zorro. Next one up is X Drake, cost 4, 5000 power slasher. Dawn times 1. During your turn while this character is rested, your Marines and Supernovas type leader and characters gain 1000 power and counter 1000. This card is a very strong card, not to mention he has 3 types: Marines, Supernovas, and Drake Pirates. It would make him viable for future decks if anything, and his ability is targeting your entire field rather than just single characters. Next is Monkey D. Luffy. The Rush card costs 5, power 6000, Dawn times 2. When attacking, your opponent cannot activate blocker during this battle. A very strong card. You're swinging at 8000 with Rush on the turn you played him, and your opponent has no choice but to use their event cards or counters to stop you, nullifying their blockers in that instant. Next one up is Basil Hawkins, one of the strongest cards I've ever seen here. He is a cost 5, 6000 power slasher, Dawn times 1, once per turn. During your turn, if this character battled with an opponent's character, set this card to active. This works well with the Luffy card. He has the potential of attacking 3 times if you want to. you would swing with his 6,000 power base first, untap him with the leader card, giving him an extra 1,000, so now he's at 7,000, and then giving him the Dawn ×1 for the ability, putting him at 8,000, and he can swing into a character, and now at that point you can untap him again and giving him another chance to swing for 8,000. Now at that point you'd maybe want to keep him untapped just to do another onslaught for next turn, but if you're trying to close out a game, I think you can possibly finish it off with 3 attacks in that one sitting, right? And then the last card in the deck here, we have Trafalgar Law. The blocker costs 5, power 6,000, slasher. On play, you may return one of your characters to your hand, play 1 cost 3 or lower character card from your hand. I really like this card. I feel like he's a good complement to the Luffy leader, as he could act as a vice captain of the deck. He has so much potential with his ability. I like how he returns cards to your hand and then make you play for free. And he would potentially save, let's say, Bonnie if you want to have Bonnie survive for another turn. And he can also save Killer to possibly use his on-play KO ability. You can also save Zorro to make him do another rush attack. And then of course you can also save the 2-drop Luffy that could swing for 7,000. And there's just so much you can do with this card, so much protection, a lot of defense with the blocker ability, because his 6,000 base power stat is nothing to laugh at. So that is the deck. We have the sideboard here, very situational. Scalpel, Zorro, the Law that untaps, and Eustace Kid that untaps himself at the end of each turn. But yeah, aside from that, I think that is it. I hope you guys are excited for the release of the One Piece card game as much as I am. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this deck list video. I hope you enjoy it, and look forward to more of these lore decks in the future. Thank you for your time, and I hope you stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.